My dear, the storm you see now will one day be a memory that makes you smile, not because it was easy, but because you survived it. Storms have a way of making themselves feel eternal. When the clouds gather thick and dark, when the rain lashes at your windows, when the wind rattles the walls, it is easy to believe it will never pass. In the middle of it, the noise of the thunder feels louder than your own thoughts, and the shadows it casts seem longer than the road ahead. Yet no matter how fierce the storm, the truth remains, storms do not last forever. They may break branches, flood fields, and shake foundations, but even the wildest storm eventually runs out of rain. The sky clears, the sun reclaims its place, and life begins to grow again. This is not just nature's pattern, it is life's pattern. The storms in our lives, those seasons of heartbreak, loss, betrayal, failure, and uncertainty, may feel endless while we are in them, but they too are temporary visitors. Yet here is the part that many try to run from. While storms do not last, they do leave something behind. They leave a mark, a lesson, a truth that was hidden before the wind began to howl. And often that lesson is more valuable than the peace we once knew. You see, comfort may keep us safe, but it is rarely our greatest teacher. It is the storm that shakes loose the parts of us that no longer serve us. It is the storm that strips away illusions, pride, and the false security we've built on shaky ground. When a storm comes, our first instinct is to resist it. We run for shelter, we close the shutters, we try to keep everything exactly as it was before. But storms don't come to leave things as they are, they come to change the landscape. Sometimes they come to tear down walls you didn't realize were keeping you trapped. Sometimes they come to wash away things that needed to go, even if you didn't have the courage to let them go yourself. It's easy to love the calm days, the gentle breezes, the skies without a single cloud. But growth rarely happens on those days. Growth happens when you're forced to face what you've been avoiding. It happens when the rain forces you indoors to sit with yourself, to ask questions you've been too busy to ask. It happens when you're stripped down to the basics, when you're reminded of what really matters, when you're left with only what is essential. Think about the last storm you survived in life, the kind that left you questioning whether you'd ever see light again. At the time, it may have felt like the end. You may have begged for it to be over, prayed for the clouds to part, but now looking back, can you see what it taught you? Did it show you your own strength? Did it teach you the depth of your resilience? Did it reveal the people who truly stood beside you when the rain fell hardest? Storms also teach us about surrender. You cannot control the wind. You cannot stop the rain. You cannot demand the lightning to cease. The only thing you can control is how you choose to stand in the middle of it. Some fight the storm, exhausting themselves against an unmovable force. Others bow to it, not in defeat, but in understanding, knowing that to survive, sometimes you must bend, not break. And there is another truth. The storm does not just come to test you, it comes to cleanse you. Rain can destroy, yes, but it can also wash away what is stagnant. Sometimes the downpour is what finally clears the dust from your soul. Sometimes it's the storm that gives you a fresh start, even if that start comes in the form of rubble and wet earth. We are taught to fear hard times, to see them only as obstacles, but storms have a strange gift. They force us to slow down. In the rush of everyday life, we convince ourselves we have control over every outcome, every schedule, every detail. But when a storm hits, everything stops. Plans are canceled. Roads are closed. You are left with no choice but to pause, to reassess, to adapt. It's in that pause that clarity can come. When the noise of routine is silenced by the roar of change, you can hear the quiet truths inside you. You begin to see the patterns you've been repeating. You notice the relationships that have been weatherproof and those that crumble at the first sign of trouble. You see yourself not as you wish to be, but as you are, and that honesty, though uncomfortable, is a kind of freedom. The fiercest storms I have faced have never left me the same. They took pieces of me, yes, but they gave me others in return. They replaced naivety with wisdom. They replaced fear with courage. They replaced dependence with self-reliance. And while I may not have chosen them, I cannot deny that I am stronger because of them. The gift of a storm is not just in what it teaches you during its rage, but in the gratitude you feel once it has passed. The first morning you wake and realize the rain has stopped, the air smells cleaner, the light feels warmer, and every simple joy feels magnified. You do not take the sunshine for granted in the same way you did before. You savor it because you know it is a gift, not a guarantee. And maybe that is the point, to teach us that nothing, not even the good, is promised forever. We learn to appreciate peace because we have known chaos. We learn to treasure laughter because we have tasted grief. We learn to stand tall because we have been knocked to our knees. The storm changes the way you see the world. Some storms pass quickly, leaving only puddles that dry within hours. Others linger, slow and heavy, flooding the valleys of our hearts. But even those will drain eventually. Even those will end. And when they do, they leave behind a version of you that knows you can survive what once seemed unsurvivable. The next time you find yourself in the middle of one, remember this: the sky has never held a storm forever. The earth has never lived beneath endless clouds. There is a cycle to all of it. And while the storm is not here to stay, it is here to teach. And what you choose to learn from it will be what you carry forward long after the skies have cleared. The winds may knock you down, but they can also carry away what you no longer need. The rain may soak you to the bone, but it can also cleanse you in ways the sun never could. The lightning may frighten you, but it can also illuminate what was hidden in the dark. Every storm, no matter how devastating, carries its own kind of wisdom, and that wisdom, if you let it, will not only get you through this storm, it will prepare you for the next, because life will bring more storms. That is inevitable, but once you have faced one and learned its lessons, you no longer fear the sound of distant thunder. You know that even if the sky turns black again, you have already proven you can walk through the rain and come out on the other side. And maybe that is the greatest lesson of all, not that the storm is temporary, but that you are built to outlast it. Joy is a fleeting thing. It comes quietly sometimes, without warning, slipping into your life in the form of a laugh that escapes you before you even realize you're smiling, a sunrise you didn't plan to wake up for, or a conversation with someone whose words light something in you. Other times, joy arrives loudly, bursting into your world like a parade, celebrations, victories, long-awaited reunions. But whether it tiptoes in or dances through the door, joy always carries the same truth. It is temporary. This is not a truth meant to sadden you. It is meant to deepen your appreciation. For if joy lasted forever, we might stop noticing it. We might begin to treat it as ordinary, as something we are entitled to, rather than the delicate gift it is. The beauty of joy lies in its impermanence. It reminds us to pay attention, to hold the moment with both hands while we have it, because no moment, no matter how beautiful, can be guaranteed tomorrow. Too often we think joy must be grand to matter, a milestone, an achievement, a dream fulfilled. But the truth is, joy can live in the smallest corners of our days. It can be the warmth of your favorite cup of tea, the sound of rain tapping against your window, the way someone you love looks at you across a crowded room. And these small joys, when noticed, begin to stitch together a life that feels rich, even if it isn't always easy. The danger is that we often overlook them, waiting instead for the big moments to be happy. We say to ourselves, I'll be happy when I get the job, when I meet the right person, when I move to the place I've always dreamed of. but joy does not wait for perfect conditions. It blooms in the middle of imperfection. It exists even on the days that are messy, even in seasons of uncertainty, even when life feels like it's asking more of you than you can give. Because joy, like sorrow, is a visitor. It knocks at the door of your heart, and you have a choice. Will you let it in, or will you be too busy worrying about tomorrow to notice it standing there? Too often, joy passes us by because we are distracted, tangled in regrets about the past or fears about the future. And when we finally look up, the moment is gone. I have seen people treat joy as if it were fragile, as if fully embracing it might jinx it somehow. They hold back their laughter, keep their celebrations quiet, guard their hearts against feeling too much, because they know joy will end and they want to soften the blow. But holding back from joy does not protect you from its absence. It only robs you of its fullness while it is here. Think of a child running through a field, laughing so hard they can barely catch their breath. They do not think, I shouldn't laugh too much because I might fall. They laugh anyway. They fall, and they get back up, and they laugh again. That is how joy was meant to be lived, fully, without apology, without fear of its ending. And yes, joy will end. The laughter will fade, the party will end, the trip will be over, the loved one will leave, the chapter will close. But that is not a reason to avoid it. That is the very reason to throw yourself into it, to taste it fully, so that when it passes, it leaves behind not regret, but gratitude. Joy also has a way of teaching us presence. When you are truly joyful, you are not worried about what's next. You are not replaying what happened yesterday. You are anchored in now, laughing, breathing, feeling. That is the power of joy. It gathers all of you into the present moment and holds you there. It reminds you that life is happening now, not in some imagined future where all your problems have been solved. But here's another truth. Joy and sorrow are often closer than we think. Sometimes they live in the same moment. The joy of watching your child grow is mixed with the ache of knowing they will never be this small again. The joy of achieving a dream is paired with the realization that the journey to get there has ended. The joy of loving deeply carries the risk of loss, and yet we choose joy anyway because the alternative is to live without it. The fact that joy is temporary does not diminish its value. It increases it. Diamonds are precious not because they are eternal, but because they are rare. Joy, too, is a rare gem in the flow of our days. You cannot force it, you cannot demand it, but you can make space for it. You can notice it when it comes. You can choose to be awake to it, even in the smallest of ways. I have learned that some of the most treasured joys in life are the ones that, at the time, I didn't even realize would matter. A shared meal with a friend, a walk at sunset, a quiet morning when everything felt in place. Looking back, those moments were golden. They were the glue that held my story together, the sparks that kept the fire of my spirit alive. It is tempting to think that because joy fades, it is somehow less real. But joy's impermanence is not a flaw. It is its nature. Like a flower, it blooms for a season, and then it returns to the soil, making way for the next bloom. The memory of it remains, and sometimes just remembering a joyful moment can bring its light back into your heart. So what do we do with joy while it's here? We name it. We speak it out loud. We say, this is good. This is worth noticing. We let ourselves be fully immersed in it, even if the world outside is imperfect, even if there are 1,000 reasons to be afraid or sad. Because joy is not the absence of difficulty. It is the presence of light in the middle of it. And when joy leaves, as it will, we can let it go with open hands, knowing it will return in another form on another day. Just as the sun sets and rises again, joy cycles in and out of our lives. We do not have to chase it down or hold it hostage. We can trust it will find its way back to us, often when we least expect it. The seasons of joy will not look the same for everyone. What fills one person with delight may not stir another at all. That is why it's so important to discover the kind of joy that speaks to your own soul. It might be the thrill of adventure or the comfort of routine, the noise of a full room or the quiet of solitude. Whatever it is, when you find it, give yourself permission to bask in it. The truth is, a joyful life is not one without sorrow. It is one where joy is sought, noticed, and cherished in spite of sorrow. Because when the storms of life come, and they will, the memories of joy become anchors. They remind you that beauty still exists, that laughter still matters, that love still finds you. Joy is temporary, yes, but so is pain. And in the space between the two, there is life, messy, unpredictable, breathtaking life. Our task is to live it with our eyes open, ready to catch joy when it appears, to hold it close, and then, when it's time, to release it with gratitude for having known it at all. Change is the one guest in life that never leaves. It does not knock politely at your door. It often barges in unannounced. It will rearrange your furniture, repaint your walls, and sometimes burn the whole house down, all before you've had a chance to protest. You can try to lock the doors, but change has a master key. You can pretend it's not coming, but it will show up anyway. And yet, as much as we resist it, change is the one thing we can trust to be constant. From the moment we are born, we are in a state of becoming. The baby becomes a child, the child becomes an adult, the adult becomes older still. The seasons turn, the leaves fall, the flowers bloom, the tides rise and fall, and so do we. The person you were 5 years ago is gone. The person you are today will also change, no matter how tightly you hold on to your current form. Life is movement. Life is transformation. Life refuses to stand still. But we are creatures of comfort. We crave the familiar because it makes us feel safe. The unknown carries uncertainty, and uncertainty makes us uneasy. We like our routines, our expectations, our sense of control. We like to believe we can map out the future with the same precision we plan a trip. But change does not follow our map. Change writes its own directions. Sometimes it takes us to places we never intended to go, places we would have avoided if we had the choice, only to discover that they hold the very lessons, the very people, the very truths we needed. The struggle we have with change is not that it happens, it's that it often happens before we feel ready. The job ends before we've saved enough. The relationship shifts before we've found closure. The opportunity arrives before we've built our confidence. Life does not wait for us to feel prepared. And maybe that is the point. If we only moved forward when we felt ready, we might never take a single step. Some changes arrive gently, like the slow turning of a page. Others come like a storm, tearing the chapter in half. But no matter how they arrive, change carries with it the possibility of renewal. Every ending makes space for a beginning, though we may not see it right away. The door that closes might lead us down a hallway we never knew existed. The friendship that drifts apart might create space for one that shapes our soul in ways we couldn't imagine. When we resist change, we prolong our own suffering. We cling to what was, even when it no longer fits. We grip tightly to jobs that have drained us, to relationships that have finished teaching us their lessons, to identities that no longer match the truth of who we are. We tell ourselves that if we hold on just a little longer, we can force the past to return. But the past does not return. It transforms. The sooner we loosen our grip, the sooner we can open our hands to receive what comes next. Think of nature. The tree does not cling to its leaves in winter, mourning the loss of green. It lets them fall, trusting that in time, new leaves will grow. The river does not try to flow backward to its source. It moves forward, carrying with it what it can, letting the rest go. The sky does not try to hold on to daylight after the sun has set. It makes room for the stars. Nature understands what we forget. Change is not an enemy. It is part of the rhythm of existence. The difficulty is that change often asks us to let go before we can see what we are reaching for. It asks us to step into the unknown without the reassurance of certainty. That is uncomfortable. That is frightening. And yet, when we look back, we see that some of the best things in our lives came from changes we did not ask for and could not predict. The job we thought we needed led to burnout, forcing us to find work we truly love. The heartbreak that shattered us opened the way for a love that healed us. The failure that humiliated us became the teacher that shaped our character. Change also strips away illusions. It shows us who we really are when comfort is gone. It reveals what we've been avoiding, what we've been denying, what we've been capable of all along. In the middle of change, we discover resilience we didn't know we had, creativity we didn't know we could summon, courage we didn't know we could carry. And once you've seen those parts of yourself, you cannot go back to pretending you are small. There is a temptation to see change as something that happens to us, something we must endure until we can get back to normal. But the truth is, there is no going back. The person you were before will not return, and the life you had before will not reappear exactly as it was. And maybe that's a gift, because the point of change is not to bring you back to what you were, it's to bring you forward into what you are becoming. The more we lean into change, the more we learn to flow with it instead of against it. We start to see its patterns. We begin to trust that even if we cannot see the full picture, each shift is part of a larger design. We realize that not every change will feel good immediately, but that doesn't mean it isn't good for us in the long run. I have learned to think of change the way a sculptor thinks of chiseling stone. At first, all you see is a block, heavy and solid, unyielding. But piece by piece, change chips away what doesn't belong, revealing something truer, more refined, more aligned with its purpose. The chiseling may feel harsh, it may hurt, but without it, the beauty within could never be seen. And yet, even as we accept change, it's natural to grieve. Every change, even the welcome ones, involves some kind of loss, the loss of what was familiar, the loss of who we were in that season, the loss of the comfort that routine gave us. Grieving is not a sign that we are resisting change. It's a sign that we are honoring the life we lived before stepping into the next chapter. What I know is this: life will keep changing whether we cooperate or not. The choice we have is whether we meet it with fear or with openness. We can stand on the shore and curse the tide for rising, or we can learn to swim in its currents. We can resist every falling leaf, or we can trust the tree knows what it is doing. We can see the shifting sands beneath our feet as a threat, or we can see them as a sign that we are being called to build somewhere new. Every change, no matter how small, is shaping us into someone we have not yet met. And the beauty is, we will never stop meeting new versions of ourselves. 10 years from now, you may look back at the person you are today and smile at how much you have grown, how much you have endured, how much you have become. That is the gift of change. It makes us travelers in our own lives, always moving, always evolving, always becoming. So when change comes, and it will, remember that you have weathered it before. You have adapted before. You have risen before. You can do it again. Because change is not the end of the story. It is simply the turning of the page. And though you cannot see the next words yet, they are waiting for you, written in ink that will only reveal itself when you step into them. Pain often feels like an unwelcome guest that overstays its welcome. When it knocks on your door, it doesn't ask for permission to enter. It doesn't care if you're ready for it or not. It arrives suddenly, unapologetically, and with a weight that can make even the strongest shoulders sag. But here is the truth. Pain, no matter how sharp or heavy, is temporary. It may linger for a season, it may whisper in the quiet hours or scream in the daylight, but it will not remain forever. The ache may fade slowly or disappear all at once, but in its departure, it leaves behind something invaluable, strength. And unlike the pain, that strength is yours to keep. It is easy to despise the seasons of hurt, to wish them away before their work is done. We pray for quick relief, for the night to pass, for the storm to move on. But if you've ever noticed, some of the strongest, most compassionate, and most unshakable people you've met have walked through valleys that would have broken others. They didn't just survive pain, they were shaped by it. Pain, in its harsh but honest way, is one of life's most profound teachers. It strips away what is unnecessary, tests what is fragile, and reveals what is unbreakable within you. When you are in pain, whether it's the grief of loss, the sting of betrayal, the weight of failure, or the ache of loneliness, it can feel like forever. Every day feels longer. Every moment feels heavier. Your mind tells you this is your new reality, as if joy and ease have been erased from your life. But here's the thing, just as no storm can keep the sun from rising, no pain can hold back the day when relief will come. The intensity will soften, the darkness will lift. What once felt unbearable will one day be a story you tell from a place of strength, not suffering. Pain forces you to confront yourself in ways comfort never can. When life is smooth, we rarely stop to ask ourselves what we're truly made of. But when pain presses in, you learn what you can endure. You discover your own resilience, not from a place of theory, but from the lived experience of carrying weight you thought would crush you. And when that season passes, the knowledge of your own strength becomes a part of you. You don't have to wonder if you can face future storms. You know you can. There's a reason so many people speak of their struggles with a strange mixture of gratitude and sorrow. Gratitude not for the pain itself, but for what the pain birthed in them. Because once you've walked through fire and found yourself still standing, there's a confidence that no applause, no award, no easy road could ever give you. You learn to trust yourself. You learn that breaking is not the same as being destroyed. You learn that endurance, patience, and courage are not given. They are forged. Think of it like the process of strengthening steel. It is placed in fire, beaten and cooled. The heat and the blows shape it into something far stronger than it was before. In the same way, pain has a refining fire. It may feel cruel in the moment, but it is sculpting you into someone with more depth, more wisdom, and more courage than you had before. And when you come out of it, you don't just carry scars. You carry a kind of beauty that can only be born from having survived. What's important to remember is that pain is not a punishment, though it may feel like it. It's part of the human journey. To be alive is to face seasons of joy and seasons of sorrow. But each painful season has an expiration date. It will not last forever. What will last forever is the fortitude you build in the process, the lessons you carry, and the compassion you develop for others who are still in their valley. When you've endured your own pain, you start to see others differently. You recognize the silent battles in their eyes. You don't rush to judge. You don't dismiss their struggles because you know what it's like to feel as though no one understands. This empathy is one of the most precious gifts pain leaves behind. It makes you more human, more connected, and more able to touch the hearts of others. Sometimes we think we have to fight pain constantly, to push it away at all costs. But often, the best way through pain is not resistance. It's surrender. Not surrender in the sense of giving up, but in allowing yourself to feel it, to learn from it, and to trust that it's doing a deeper work in you. When you stop wrestling with pain and start listening to it, you begin to uncover the wisdom hidden within it. Pain is not there to define you, it is there to refine you, and refinement is never comfortable. It requires patience, faith, and the willingness to see beyond the present moment. If you can remind yourself that this season will pass, you can begin to walk through it with a different posture. You may not be able to rush the process, but you can lean into the knowledge that you are being made stronger, braver, and wiser than before. One day, you will look back on the pain you're feeling now and realize it changed you in ways that made you better, not bitter. You will see that it gave you a voice, a backbone, and a heart that beats more deeply for the struggles of others. You will see that you have been built for more than ease. You have been built for endurance. And perhaps most beautifully, when the pain has done its work and the wound has healed, you will stand taller, not because the world has become easier, but because you have become stronger. You will walk into new seasons not with fear of what might come, but with the quiet assurance that no matter what arrives, joy or sorrow, gain or loss, you will endure. And when the next wave of pain eventually comes, as it always does, you will not crumble. You will remember it is temporary, but the strength it leaves is yours forever. There is a kind of peace that only arrives when we stop wrestling with tomorrow and stop replaying yesterday. It is the peace of being here, fully, with no strings pulling you forward or backward. Anxiety, at its root, is the mind's refusal to sit still. It is the racing heartbeat of what if and the endless loop of should have. But when you begin to live in the present, when you begin to inhabit each moment like it is the only room you own in this vast universe, something extraordinary happens. You find freedom. Think about the times when you have been most content, not simply happy in bursts, but deeply rooted in peace. Those moments are never when you were sprinting mentally toward an outcome or holding on to a past you can't rewrite. They are when you were so absorbed in a conversation that time felt irrelevant, when you were so caught up in the sunlight streaming through your window that you forgot the long list of things on your mind. Presence is the place where life actually lives. And yet, so many of us treat it like a vacation home we rarely visit. Presence is not about ignoring the past or abandoning your dreams for the future. It is about giving the moment in front of you the respect it deserves. Imagine a dear friend sitting across from you, telling you about something that matters to them, and instead of listening, you're texting, planning dinner, and daydreaming about the weekend. You'd be missing the gift of their presence, wouldn't you? That is what we do to life every time we drift from the present into the haze of distraction. There is a quiet truth. The only moment you can breathe in is this one. You cannot inhale yesterday's air, and you cannot borrow tomorrow's breath. Yet we often forget and try to live multiple moments at once, juggling our regrets, our hopes, our to-do lists, our fears. We multitask our lives into fragments, then wonder why we feel incomplete. But the fullness you seek isn't somewhere else. It's here, waiting for you to pay attention. Many people believe anxiety is simply an overreaction to a potential danger or an unshakable nervousness about the unknown. But much of anxiety is the mind's rebellion against stillness. We are taught that stillness equals laziness, that if we're not mentally running ahead, we'll fall behind. Yet the greatest clarity, the truest insights, and the deepest joys often come when we dare to stop running. When you ground yourself in this moment, you realize that most of the disasters your mind rehearses never arrive. The storms you thought were inevitable, they pass or soften, and half the battles were only fought in your imagination. Think of the child playing in the yard who is so entranced by the game they forget the world exists beyond their laughter. That child is living the secret we unlearn as we grow older, that joy is born in attention. You don't have to search far for peace. It's hidden in your coffee cup's steam, in the way your hands feel warm when wrapped around it, in the sound of rain against the window while you're safe inside. We just have to notice. Presence doesn't mean life will stop throwing challenges your way. It means that when the challenge comes, you will meet it with your whole self rather than a scattered mind. Have you ever noticed that when you are fully present in a difficult moment, really hearing what's being said, really feeling what's happening, you can respond with more wisdom? That's because presence gives you the full range of your awareness, instead of splitting it between the now and the imaginary worlds your anxiety creates. But presence is not passive. It is a deliberate act of choosing. It is telling your mind, yes, I hear your predictions, your fears, your expectations, but right now my job is to live this moment. It takes courage to anchor yourself in the present when everything in you wants to rush toward certainty or run from discomfort. The mind often believes that if it can leap forward far enough, it will find safety. But safety is never in the next moment. It is in the one you are in. When you train yourself to be present, you discover that the moment is more than enough. You realize the richness of now, the laughter you share, the aroma of food before you eat it, the way your chest rises and falls as you breathe. And here is the life-changing part. When you truly live each moment, you stop fearing the future as much. You understand that whatever comes, you will meet it the same way you meet this moment, with presence, with attention, with grace. The practice of presence is not complicated, though it can be challenging at first. It starts with awareness. Notice when your mind drifts to yesterday's mistakes or tomorrow's what ifs. Don't scold yourself. Simply return gently to where you are. Use your senses to anchor you. Look at the colors around you. Feel the ground under your feet. Listen to the subtle hums and breaths of life happening now. You are not trying to escape your reality. You are trying to fully enter it. Over time, this awareness becomes a habit, and anxiety begins to loosen its grip. You will still have thoughts about the future, but they will no longer have the power to pull you away from your life. You will still remember the past, but it will no longer overshadow your now. You will walk through your days with more clarity, more calm, and more joy, not because life is suddenly easier, but because you are finally living it as it unfolds. Presence is a gift you give yourself, but it is also a gift to everyone around you. When you are truly present with someone, they feel seen, heard, and valued. The same is true of life. When you are truly present in it, you begin to feel seen by the world itself, as if it has been waiting for you to arrive. And perhaps it has. You are not late to your own life. You are exactly here, exactly now, and that is enough. Because presence is the cure for anxiety, not in some abstract, unreachable way, but in the most practical truth. When you are here, fully here, anxiety cannot drag you into a place that does not exist. All you have to do is choose to stay. There's a rhythm to life that we cannot always hear. It hums quietly beneath the noise of our worries, beneath the chaos of our plans, beneath the restlessness of our ambition. Sometimes we think we are moving too slow, that we are falling behind some invisible schedule. Other times we feel rushed, forced to step into something before we are ready. But here is the truth. Life's timing is not our timing. There is a clock in the unseen, one you cannot wind, cannot rush, cannot delay, and yet it never makes a mistake. We live in a world addicted to instant gratification. The culture tells us that if we want something, we should have it now. We tap a screen and a package arrives at our door the next day. We click a button and a song begins to play instantly. This convenience has fooled us into believing that everything in life should arrive on our schedule. And so, when love takes too long to show up, when success seems to hide behind locked doors, when healing feels like it's moving at a snail's pace, we begin to panic. We think something is wrong. We think we are doing something wrong. But life is not an express delivery service. Life is a master gardener. It plants seeds in the soil of your soul and waits for the right season to bring them to bloom. The seed does not demand to sprout before the frost has passed, and the gardener does not dig it up every morning to see if it has grown. In the same way, there are blessings, opportunities, and transformations with your name on them, but they are not meant to arrive a minute earlier than they are ready. The difficulty is that we often mistake delay for denial. We think if it hasn't happened yet, maybe it's never going to happen. That thought becomes a weight on our chest, pressing us toward despair. But not yet does not mean not ever. The pause you are experiencing may not be a punishment. It might be a protection. Sometimes life holds you back because the thing you want so desperately is not ready for you, or you are not ready for it. Think about a fruit picked too early. It looks promising from the outside, but the inside is bitter, unripe, not yet sweet enough to nourish. The same is true for moments in life. If you force them to arrive before their time, they will not taste the way they were meant to. That relationship you tried to rush may have ended in heartbreak, not because love isn't for you, but because you were both still growing into the people you needed to be. That career door that slammed shut may not have been rejection. It may have been redirection, saving you from a path that would have drained your spirit before it could develop its strength. There is a sacred patience required in trusting unseen timing. It is not the patience of sitting with folded arms, tapping your foot in irritation. It is the patience of a traveler who knows that the train will arrive when it is scheduled to arrive, not a minute earlier, not a minute later. They do not stand on the platform yelling at the tracks. They wait, knowing the journey cannot begin without the vehicle to carry them. And yet, waiting does not mean doing nothing. While the timing is being prepared in the unseen, you can be preparing in the seen. The season before the arrival is the season of readiness. If the opportunity of your dreams showed up tomorrow, would you be ready to hold it, to carry it, to honor it? Many people want the blessing, but they do not want the work of becoming the person who can keep it. A house given to someone who cannot maintain it will crumble. A relationship given to someone who cannot nurture it will wither. A platform given to someone who cannot handle its weight will collapse beneath them. Trusting unseen timing is also about trusting yourself. Trusting that when the moment comes, you will rise to meet it. Trusting that you will recognize the door when it opens, even if it looks different from the one you expected. Sometimes we miss opportunities because they arrive in disguises. They don't always come wrapped in shiny paper with a bow. Sometimes the gift is a challenge that forces you to grow. Sometimes it is a detour that leads you to a better road. There will be moments when the waiting feels endless. The nights will feel long, the silence deafening. In those moments, remember that the roots grow deepest in the dark. Just because you cannot see progress does not mean there is none. In fact, the most important growth often happens away from your sight. The seed splits before the sprout appears. The caterpillar transforms in the cocoon, hidden from the world. The foundation is laid before the walls rise. I have learned that what feels like stagnation is often incubation. Life is crafting details you have not even thought to ask for. It is aligning people, places, and events in ways that are beyond your imagination. And when the time comes, it will feel sudden to you, But it will not be sudden to life. It will be right on schedule. The doors that open easily, without force, the connections that feel effortless, the moments that click into place, these are the fruit of unseen timing. And yes, there will also be missed trains, closed doors, and endings that you do not understand. But even those are part of the timing. Sometimes the no is as important as the yes. Sometimes the delay is the very thing that shapes you into the person who can walk through the right door without fear or hesitation. If you have ever looked back on your life and thought, "Thank goodness that didn't happen when I wanted it to," then you already know this truth. You can see now that the heartbreak you thought would destroy you was actually the turning point that led you to someone better. You can see now that the job you didn't get freed you to pursue work that truly fulfilled you. You can see now that the waiting was not wasted, it was weaving something better. And so even now, in this moment, there are things in motion for you that you cannot yet see. The phone call that will change your path, the chance encounter that will spark an idea, the door that will swing open when you least expect it, it is all part of a choreography you did not design, but one that is designed for you. Your task is not to control the music, but to be ready to dance when it begins. Trusting unseen timing means releasing the illusion of control. It means loosening your grip on the way you think life should unfold and opening your hands to the way it is unfolding. It means believing that even the detours have purpose, even the delays have meaning, and even the disappointments have direction. You are not behind. You are not late. You are exactly where you are supposed to be on a path that was carved long before you knew you were walking it. The train is coming, the seed is sprouting, the door is being unlocked. And when it happens, it will not be by accident, it will be right on time. So, and when the nights feel endless, remember, they are only nights. When the joy feels fleeting, hold it close while it's here. When the pain feels heavy, know it is not permanent. Everything in this life, every storm, every sunset, every heartbeat is passing through you like the wind through an open window. Do not stress, my dear. This moment is just a chapter, not the whole story, and you are far more than what you are going through.